No, this is kind of fun, but the way up there with Kipchoge.
I know that Dick Beardsley needed to find 2 more seconds.
He did.
In the great race with Alberto Salazar.
Yes, he did.
Back in 1983, right? They ran 2:08.52 and 2:08.54, I believe is what they came through in that wonderful race there. And, there's nothing to lead me to believe, Meb, in looking at that picture, that Kipchoge's uncomfortable in the least.
Absolutely incredible, and those other guys are...
Benson Kipruto is there as well. Is there a way those 2 guys can work together, Meb, to try and maybe wear down Kipchoge as teammates?
You know, as I was...
You want to know, running in the streets of Boston. And he has been...
You are probably one of the first athletes that really did outside appearances when we were at big events. You are scheduled, and this weekend, besides now line up and race, I mean, his schedule's been packed.
I mean, his schedule is packed. I have to win the Boston Marathon to get the attention that people kind of connected with me. He didn't even start Hopkinton, and he was already mobbed. He's such an icon, a great leader, and an amazing legend for the sport, and ambassador he is, and people just want to get a picture or time with him.
And he's coming through the Scream Tunnel with the
halfway point of the marathon. As you just heard them pass is right there as they went through, but obviously this is the elite group. Wait till the other runners go through. Stand by for that. Kisses, sometimes that's not even enough. Runners get some added inspiration from handmade signs of encouragement. The students show off it too. It's a little lift there as you hit the halfway point, guys.
Did you ever sneak off and get a kiss there, or did the Scream Tunnel?
I did not do the kiss, but however you remember the sound of there is just a thrilling to be there and give them thumbs up, pump the chest. Is exciting, is very enthusiastic people, and want to just make you want to go faster.
You didn't go by and give a kiss, but my husband sure did.
Charlie got in there?
He did.
And you're not mad, you're done.
I'm not mad at him. You go for it. This is a once in a lifetime deal.
Chuck's a handsome man.
To watch, and I should say, I think I do have the best seat in the house, John.
Listen, I'd trade with you except for the rain. As they go through their Meb, 59:01 for 20K. You impressed yet?
Absolutely. This is a course record pace, 58:45 for Mutai, where Mutai was so 4:44 last mile. You know, the competition is starting to happen. We would not be surprised to see a possible course record.
Yeah, still very much in play. Jeffrey Mutai. Jeffrey Mutai's record is also the fastest marathon ever run on American soil. Though we're not going to get into all the rules of it. Boston records are not things that could be considered world records or world best, but certainly the time is the time when you put it down. And 2:03 and change is the fastest ever run here in the United States. Kipchoge and the rest.
What a great run for the Americans here. CJ Apperson and Connor Mentz be able to be there. You know, it's just a ride, you know, ride the wave. This is what is happening, and to be in the same course, same pace as Kipchoge, it gives them a thrill of a lifetime.
Mentz is in the back of that pack, but he's an American in a debut. He would like to get under 2:08 for sure. Take a look at the 3 box. Marcel, who's a champ? Who's going to join him with the elite men, the elite women? Next across the line is going to be Susan Scaroni. We know she's going to get her laurel wreath. That's coming up when we come back. 127th Boston Marathon on ESPN2 and WCVB. We got a lot of business happening in the men's elite race and the women's elite race. They've got some time, so we're going to concentrate on the women's wheelchair, where Susana Scaroni, in her 9th try, is about to win the Boston Marathon. Amanda, is there any potential between now and the finish line that could derail this thing?
You know, she has such a gap on the rest of the field. She's up over a across the finish line, and I think that she's still got this. And this is really her strength. This is how she won her gold medal at the Tokyo Paralympic Games. She took off hard, she took off strong, and she held that gap. We were talking about how she has grit, how she loves to do this. And in the 5K on Saturday morning, she almost finished 3rd for the men's wheelchair division. She came up along the third place group of men, and they sprinted across the line to come in ahead of her. That's how fast she is. She's out there, and she really, really just wants to test herself and to test the course and see what she can do.
Watching her come through. I mean, this has got to be really no stress. Because usually, Amanda, when you say I won by a mile, like that's hyperbole, right?
This is a literal.
She's going to win by a mile.
Absolutely. And it's so funny because she texted me this morning and said, I don't know if I'm feeling it today. And clearly, she is feeling it today. She went off hard from the start.
Or good Lord, if she's not feeling it.
Absolutely. Who knows what she's capable of when she is feeling great.
Listen, give me the difference. She was the runner-up in 2022. Like, it's only one spot from 2nd to 1st. But just the difference that is in your life and what it can mean.
You know what? For someone like Susana, who has been on this circuit for so long and has been trying to get these wins for such a long time, to win her first Boston, to win her 3rd major, this is so huge. She's going to be absolutely over the moon, especially because she didn't think she was strong enough. She didn't think she had it in her today.
I mean, her career is just nothing but top 5s. And then in the last year, starting in Chicago and New York and now here, finally that top step of the podium.
Absolutely. It took her a little bit longer to break through, but when she did, she was ready. She was experienced. She knew her strengths. She knew her competitors. And she's here. She is a serious force to contend with.
And she'd won marathons before. She'd won in Los Angeles a couple of times. I love people in Duluth. She'd won Grandma's. But this is a different level. There's a reason they call them platinum races.
There is. The fields here, the level of competition that you get here is like no other race. And Boston is the race. All around the world, even people who don't run marathons know the Boston Marathon. So to be able to call yourself the Boston Marathon champion is huge. And here she is, all alone, by herself. Not a chance anyone else is going to catch her.
She has only got a few 100 meters more. Means she's only got to pass one more Dunkin' Donuts.
You can see it. You can see the smile on her face. She knows she has it.
Hey, you don't me. I'm gonna let this wash over me, and I'm gonna let you call your friend home as she wins the Boston Marathon. Take it.
So excited to call my friend, my teammate, Susana Scaroni, the 2023 Boston Marathon Professional Women's Wheelchair Division champion.
Amanda, give me the sense of both the exhaustion and the exhilaration in that moment.
When you finish a race like that, when you come through, when you break the tape, it all fades away. You can see that smile on her face, and I know she's hurting. 26 miles hurts, especially on a course like this, with the wind, with the rain, everything is burning.
For whom the bells toll at the South Church, and in this case it's Susana Scaroni.
But I can't watch
her first championship in the Boston Marathon. And I tell you what, that completes quite a series. As we said, twice second, 3 times third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth.
She's unofficial at 1:41.45, her third fastest time in Boston.
So now we can say there are 3 past champions in the field, with Susanna Scaroni back at the men's elite field. Man, we had a little moment there where Kipchoge was sort of making some movements. I don't know if he was telling people to like get off my back or take the lead or what, but he had some words for people.
You know, road racing is fun, exciting, but at the same time very spacious. As they just went out to the halfway point at 1:02.19. Great pacing, but yes, I mean, you want to protect your space, you want to protect your distance, but sometimes it's a sign of fatigueness sometimes when people bump into you. That happened to me at the Olympic trials, and it's not very friendly sometimes, but at the same token, sometimes you don't want to work the line like the Galen Rupp did at the Olympic Games to be able to push the pace, because the king, the lion, you don't want to get him upset.
I was going to say, and Galen's not even in there. That pack, Kipchoge, Kipruto, all the careers, John, Mark, Albert, Connor Mance in the fight, Evans Chebet, the defending champ, Belay, Gay, and CJ Albertson, as you see there now, he's kind of in the back right, that he's dropped away. But they've gone through the half in 1:02.19, so that's certainly a respectable time, if not a course record or world record time. That's still, they're doing some good yeoman work there. There you see Evans Chebet over on the right side. Champion last year in Boston as well as New York. And he's a guy you're going to watch. We're trying to watch up to about 35K because in both their victories, Chebet last year and Benson Kipruto in 21, 35K is where they decided that they were going to decide the race, and they went.
Absolutely. I think they're spreading out a little bit here because they want to know who started to study each other. And the rain, you can see the ground is wet, but we're not going to see probably the same move at 35K because they're predicting that possibly. So we look forward to possibly have a surprise somewhere else before or after.
Well, nobody's sneaking up on anybody in this race, that's for sure. With that field, everybody knows everybody, everybody respects everybody. Women's professional field on the right. We got a few characters in that drama we're going to have to talk to Kerry about when we return to the 127th Boston Marathon. Back here on ESPN2 WCVB, the 127th running of the Boston Marathon. On your left, there's the greatest of all time, Eliud Kipchoge, leading the men's elite field that has both the past champions in it, as well as they get to the drink station. Meb, tell me, what's the trick to doing the drink station right?
The drink station comes every 5K, and you want to be able to just grab it as soon as possible and walk away from the water station because you don't want to stumble against somebody else. But it is also a good point and time to study other competitors, their form, their mechanic, and what they're looking like. So it is a good time to make a move, otherwise, and if that happens, you have to hold on to your water as long as possible to cover the move.
Got your bottles all marked and make sure they're all in the right place and nobody grabs the wrong one.
You know, once happened to me, so when somebody grabbed my bottle, I have to go, hey, that's mine. So you got to have a little bit of fun with it, but you have your special drink that you train with, and you know, sometimes you have gel inside there or electrolyte to help you get to the finish line as strong as possible.
I went through the last 5K section, 15:03, so that's fairly, you know, nothing spectacular right there. That's, again, that just leads you to believe that they are racing, and those who are fit can keep up, and those that maybe don't quite have that same level will fall off. But nobody's surged there to see if they can bury anybody.
It's not a surge to the finish line, but you can see that the group is getting narrower and narrower. There's about 6 or 7 left, and now it's getting down to the 5 people, and then hopefully podium and for victory. So the strategy and tactics are very important at this point.
The time coming through that 25K, 1:14:04, led by Kipchoge. And there's our women's champion, Susanna Scaroni. Like, she was ready to be done. You notice she put the brakes on and like, here I am. And now she's had time to gather her composure, gather her breath, and we go down to the champ with Sage Steele.
Yes, I am honored, John, to be with the champ right now. By the way, your friend, your teammate, Amanda McGrory, on the call with us. I think she was getting emotional as she saw this happen for you. Where did your emotions come from right now as you sit here and try to absorb all of this?
Yeah, I mean, I have come to Boston ever since 2012, and it's been one of my all-time favorite courses. I really love hilly courses. And today, you know, we had an amazing field. The course itself challenged me, the rain challenged me, and the crowds, like I've learned, whether you're in the first or last place, the crowds here are rain and shine, always there to support you. And I just felt so lifted up by that, and wanted to give it my all, like always. I'm just really proud of that, and proud to race with such a strong field of women, who a lot of whom have, you know, helped me get to where I am, including Amanda. So thank you.
Interesting, of course. We are watching closely as you pull over and you pull out your toolkit, and everyone here was holding their collective breaths. What was going on, and what was going through your mind when you were trying to fix it?
Yeah, so this course was pretty bumpy, and what that can mean sometimes is my axle can come a little bit loose, and so it did, unfortunately. But I carried an Allen key, and I just, you know, pulled over, tightened up as quickly as I could, and just, I didn't see anyone behind me, so I was like, well, maybe I can maintain the gap.
Was your heart racing during that moment, like because you had to stop?
I was super disappointed, but at the same time, I'm so happy I had an Allen key. I've done marathons where I didn't, and so I have learned throughout my years to carry everything you need. And so I just want to, you know, try to keep a gap, but I knew that I had lost a lot of ground from that.
Finally, you said you've been coming here since 2012. 3 third-place finishes, runner-up last year, and now this. You did it. What's your biggest takeaway after all these years of trying and now doing it?
I really think, and this went through my mind today, you know, regardless of what you're experiencing that day, some setbacks you can have, it's a privilege to be out here. And I learned, you know, after taking a year where I couldn't race, I'm so happy just to get to be here and the opportunity we have to do this sport and to inspire others. And I try to soak in each moment of that now.
You did it, and as our friend John Anderson said, I mean, you literally won by a mile. Like, you demolished the course in the competition, and it is really awesome to see. Congratulations, Susanna Scaroni, the champion here at Boston finally. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sage. And now, just a side note, 7 more, and she'll match Jean Driscoll for the most all-time in the women's wheelchair event. But we'll get to that later.
One by one.
There you go. 16th mile, a little downhill. Meb, they peel off a little something, 4:23.
4:23. That's pretty fast, but I think the course record is slipping as well. But I think here the biggest challenge of the hills are coming, and the group just got narrower and smaller. And that early pace on 4:37 that they went is kind of costing to some people.
And it's about to get really hard. 16 is that long downhill into 17, and now we're going to be into the hills here momentarily.
16 is one of the fastest late in the race before you make the right turn to the fire station, and then you start climbing the hills. And you know, this is where the race is going to happen. So we see 7 people been together going up the hills.
And then over on the women's side, Carrie, we still got quite a pack. I like that Helen O'Beary's there. We're kind of waiting for her. And Bates from the U.S. Hello, Emma.
Yeah, and Emma's right there. And you know what I loved is they went through that last water station, and everyone still grabbed it. It is humid, but it is wet, as you can see, and it's cool. So you got to make sure that you're still fueling. And that's the one thing with Helen O'Beary that she maybe didn't quite get in her first marathon in New York City that she's trying to do here.
Let's bring in Naoko Funiyama, because quite frankly, if you're out there in the lead moto, Naoko, and it's raining, I feel like the whole world's a water station to you right now.
Yeah, it's fine, man. This is great running weather, John. I mean, honestly, these runners have such great posture, especially coming into Natick Center, and you got the big cheers starting to happen. You hit the Wellesley College Scream Tunnel. Now we're in Wellesley Center, and you can tell that the runners are so motivated by the cheers because you can see they're starting to kick a little bit stronger. I love the fact that Emma Bates was a little bit behind this lead pack for a little while, but then right before the Scream Tunnel, she kind of joined in with that lead pack. A couple of runners told me that they don't like to be too far from the lead pack because they want that initial surge of cheers, the loud cheers that comes because it's such a huge motivator. So the runners are looking really good at this point in the race. The rain doesn't bother them at all, John.
Rain doesn't bother them. Carrie, at what point then does it bother them, or is it just a nuisance, or how do I feel about the rain?
Well, I think that right now they are, getting closer to home. We know that they're over halfway. They went through in 1:11:29. And there might be a little bit of chill, but I think the big thing is to not forget that, as I said, there is some humidity in the air. And if you aren't still aware of what you're taking in, you're burning a lot. So fueling, hydration is so important in these later stages. And not necessarily what happens in the later stages, it's what you've done in the early stages.
Absolutely. You want to be able to get your fluids in early on. Don't wait until you get thirsty. By that time, performance is way down. So you want to preload your carbohydrate and preload your fluid. So this is a crucial moment. And, you want to have more than your competitors.
Kipchoge, Chebet, Kipruto, the brothers' career, none of them are related. Gay. Is there anybody in this pack right now that's not there that you expected, whether it's DeCisa or Katada? Is there anybody right now that you're a little surprised isn't playing ball? Looks like Connor Mance has dropped off there too, by the way.
Absolutely. I think this one here, like the other favors, have gone Katata and Lelisa. But John Career, Kipchoge just took off his gloves and followed by John Career. So I think we're going to see some great moves going on soon.
There you see the elevation chart. Way back at the left, Hop Kitten, where we started, Hop Kitten is all downhill. But now we're right there, mile 17, and we're into those 4 hills. And eventually culminates with Heartbreak Hill right there between 20 and 21. And at some point, you see, by the time you get all the way down there, you're nearly at sea level. It is a net downhill. But don't tell anybody about the net downhill when they're starting to go there in mile 17 and 18, right, Meb?
Absolutely. No, this is the...
Keep your net downhill to yourself.
You got to keep that internal information. But the course is the challenge here, and I think what we talked about earlier, the course will make the move for you, and one more search before the finish line will happen.
Tell me more what you mean by that the course was for you.
Are waiting for you at 17 to 21, and the early pace of Lactic and Hopkinton inevitably going to cost for you. If you've been smart and you know you've done your training, we'll carry you through the hills. Otherwise, you're going to pay out for your mistakes here.
So the temp, I can live with that. Meb?
It's a perfect temperature here. I mean, you want to run.
Are off, the hats are off, and the race is engaged to a certain degree. These guys still to keep in the, it's wet out there, kind of holding their water at this. When am I going to go ahead and decide that this is where I would like to make my stand, or at least my charge, to win the Boston Marathon?
Well, and John, I mean, you know, we just had a front-on shot there. Now we have a side shot of a man that we've all talked a lot about form, but this guy really has the perfect form, and he's in this, you know, these sections of going up and down, and it doesn't really falter. And then you see him with those finishing kicks that we've seen now and time again with all the replays. He's such a beautiful runner.
Lockstep right there with John Korir in the red, whose personal best is 2:05:01. There you see some of the 25K split. We're really close to getting to the 30K split, the advanced time. He's close there. He's got 4. He's trying to get this one on this day, and then we can worry about November in New York, London, and Berlin. 3rd fastest time ever in Chicago.
Yeah, he talked about the course record early on, and then the closer we got to the race, it was a little bit more like, hey, I want the win. If the course record comes, that's the icing on the cake. But the man behind him, that tall guy right there in the Adidas kit, that's Gabriel Gay. We haven't mentioned him much. He was 4th here last year. He says more spots to be better.
There's not. Set the national record for Tanzania and his personal best at the Valencia Marathon in 2022. Finished 2nd in that one. Meb, you got some more numbers to crunch for us, because after the 4:23 downhill mile, 17 was 5:10, 18 is 4:59, which tells me they're having to work at it.
Well, and it's showing the course, how hilly it is, and the pace. I mentioned Gabriel Gay. He's an amazing athlete. He has done some of the fastest U.S. Road Championship, the short distances, including the BA 10K here, and Bay the Breakers, and Boulder. And he's a national record holder for Tanzania, a 2:03 flat. He said, if you have no confidence in yourself, you are twice defeated in the race of life. With confidence, you have won even before you have started. So we haven't seen him yet, but he's been playing it very smart, and I think it's going to be a big factor here.
Listen, I'll borrow from my good friend in SportsCenter.
In training and 10% mental today, it converts to 90% mental and 10% physically. Those guys are running amazing, and to be with the iconic Eliud Kipchoge, and they're just having their dreams, but at the same time, they want to be able to see what they can do against him. And run your victory lap, I call it, 26.2 miles of victory lap, all of your hard work.
So I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 7 people, 8 if you count Josh Brogadier. And I count you, Josh. What do you got?
Well, that's nice to be counted among this group, I'll tell you that much. One runner that I'm watching very closely is Andoul Mbele, who has been hanging the entire time. He won Lisbon 3 times, he won in Ottawa, and he's the kind of runner that can stay with this group, and he has been very well. You also mentioned John Korir. Watching him, of course, his brother Wesley won this whole thing in 2012, the year after the record was set. But now they're coming down this area. We spoke with Benson.
I just mentioned him, Gabriel Gay. He's a great short distance runner, like a 7-mile, 10K.
3rd in 2018, won the 10K at 2018 here in the BAA. And at some point, some of these guys are going to have to make a decision. Are we going to let him go and we can reel him in, or we can stay with him and cover the move?
Well, one thing that I like about Gabriel Gay, I talked to him the other day in a panel, and you know, he loves the NBA. He likes being here in America. He also is a big fan of Ed Sheeran. I said, are you a romantic? He's eager to be great. And this is interesting for him to put this kind of a move on. And look at Eliud Kipchoge is off.
Past champions with Evan Chebet and Kipruto, and then there's John Korir. And listen, the last time the weather was lousy, when they were in London, in that London Marathon, in rainy conditions.
Well, he did miss his last water bottle in that last water stop.
Notice he didn't take it.
He didn't take it. He went for it. He went over to the side of the table, didn't find it. And yeah, I mean, we still have a lot.
Certainly, and this is, if there was a question coming in on Kipchoge, age being one of them. He's 38, although he certainly ran well just a few months ago. But part of it would be those hills. So we've got some drama with the greatest of all time here in Boston. We'll get back to it right after this break. Gay out in front. Boston Marathon, quick look at the map. Meb, we're going through the hills, miles 20, coming off those hills, mile 21 all the way. It's down.
Brick hills. You are exhausted, you are tired, and you're looking for the Citgo sign and hopefully bring it home. And that's 1 mile to go to the Citgo sign. But everybody's waiting for it. And once you get there, you're looking forward to come to Boylston, making the last 2 turns on Hereford and left on Boylston.
Left on Boylston, 600 meters then to the finish. And there's the men's lead pack. And if you could, just for a moment, there's the 5. We love them. But then you go back, there's 6. And then in 7th, and sort of right now, off the group, is Eliud Kipchoge. And Gabriel Gay, who made the move, has been ruled in by, reeled in quickly by the 2 teammates there, Kip Ruto and Evans Chebet. John Career also there in the red, and Belay in the white siglet. And there's Eliud Kipchoge. We have him to be running alone, maybe, but not alone in 7th.
Coming to the Boston Marathon, the pressure is huge. As a former world record holder, 2:01:09, every eye is on you. So, you know, I think the pressure is getting up here now, and the competitors, and they made the move when it counted at the right after the hills.
Meb, how does someone with that much pressure, is he done?
It's hard.
1:35:53, but the first guy to come across 7th, and right now at 20 miles is 16 seconds off the pace.
Look at the top 2 guys right there. They've won here on this course before. They know that they were going to come into this and work as their stages, and now we see these 2 teammates pushing what is the later stages of this race.
Mission 1 accomplished here. They have gotten the king throne here for this day at least, to be able to be Kipchoge ahead of him. Now, those 5 men are going to have to work hard. Are we going to see a defending champion repeat, or a new champion, or Benson winning it again? So this is the big
fan fest on Saturday afternoon, and I once said, hey, can you gang up and try to beat Kipchoge? And they were...
Regardless, you know, yes, they want to crack that tape, but for them to be able to work together right now, this late in the stage, I think that they're having a great day. This is what they've both been visualizing, talking. It's all about them.
It's all about them.
And certainly, Eliud Kipchoge right there is a man. Men's race is a huge upset in the making. we've got a lovely and wonderful race going on over on the women's side.
Look at this pack that we have. I mean, they are working their way through. We have Lana Salpeter, who has done so well, third at the World Championships, second at the New York City Marathon, and her husband told me she's spent time in Israel, she's spent time in Kenya. This build has been the best, so she's taken it really seriously, and she has really wanted this win. And so, you know, maybe not a name that everybody has said in their top three, but I think that most of us that really know this sport have never doubted her. She is one that needs that big win, and today might be her day.
And she traveled first to Israel in 2008. She went to work for the Kenyan ambassador in Israel as a nanny, and she did tell me, she's like, listen, you chase kids around, marathon training's not terrible.
It's so true. But then she's had such a phenomenal year this year. She was 7th at the World Championships. But, you know, it really kind of kicked off when she was 2nd at Chicago in 2021. And she just seems like everything is clicking for her. She trains in Boulder. They have a Boston Marathon course that she and Joe Bosshart, her coach, have had both her and for somebody to come in and say, I'm as fit as the American record. Emily Sisson, and now, you know, other Americans are wanting it.
So we have just heard, we will wait to get full. So we're keeping an eye on that. He's certainly out of the picture, which in itself is remarkable. And Evans Chebet has got the field right now under control. I don't know that he'll have it the rest of the way, but right now he's the guy that's controlling the 127th Boston Marathon.
And he looks very smooth and control. I know he's looking back a little bit to see for that initial move. And he's keeping contact with Evan Chebet, so we'll see what happens. But
he does look a little fresher there.
You know, it's not always going to go perfect your way, but the determination, the crowd in Boston is flying.
The other thing in assessing Kipchoge, they're like, well, he could always have a bad day. And the hard part is the guy doesn't have bad days. He's had one. And now we're looking at perhaps two. One in London, 2018. So Evans Chebet still in the lead. Benson Kipruto, his teammate, they've closed the gap on him some. If you're wondering, the last time we've had back-to-back winners here, Robert Kipkoech Chariot in 2006, 2007, and actually 2008. He won 3 in a row. And so he and his teammate now working together. And Gay still very much in it. John Courier and Mbile both have dropped back. I think Mbile, you could say, is safely out of the fight, but the two Adidas athletes and Gay very much still involved in what's happening. Now we go back to the side of things.
Again, a huge pack here. I mean, you know, this is what's so nice when you do have a pack. You are working together. You're getting through these middle miles that are really tough, and there's not a lot of big moves, but guarantee there will be something that comes up from here. We know that. We know, we've seen it time and time again. And on that men's side, wow, I mean, I just loved watching Benson Kipruto go through that water stop. You know, you can see how, you know, if the athletes are still well within themselves, and Benson Kipruto looked the best grabbing his spotter. He had his coordination, and I really like seeing that in the later stages of the marathon.
Listen, what could be better? Let's have 13 of them come down Boyle Street on the women's side, and there's Kipchoge. And listen, not what we expected to see when we got out of bed. The greatest marathoner of all time and the most iconic marathon, just struggling now to get himself to the finish line. We're back with more from Boston after this. Back here, the 127th Boston Marathon, ESPN2, WCVB. And I said it and I'll repeat it. Eliud Kipchoge runs alone, but he runs alone in 7th. Man with 2 gold medals, one of only 3 men ever to go back-to-back in the Olympic marathon. Set the world record twice, sub 2 hours. But the marathon can be a struggle for everybody. Whether you are a guy that's run it in sub 2 hours or you're a guy trying to break 4 hours, Meb.
Absolutely. That's what, and I do all respect to Kipchoge, because before the start of the race, he said, I respect the distance, I respect the course, I respect my competitors. We're humans, but he has done something phenomenal that no other human has done under 2 hours. But today is not his day, and you know, you can see him coming in. The cadence is not there, but he's determined to get to that finish line.
He came through at 35K, a minute and 13 seconds back, and his 5K split from 30 to 35 is 16:08, which is very listen, I think that guy, a lot of guys, Meb, a lot of guys would. What keeps the guy?
Keeps you going is your upbringing. A lot of it is your upbringing. You saw some other difficult times. For him, he didn't want to say, I'm going to go course record. He just wanted to be, we'll see how Monday goes. And I've been there before, where I struggled at the Olympic Games, or I struggle. It is, you want to do it for your team. You know, your team carried you to get to the starting line. Unless you are hurt or you have fallen down, you want to get you want an ambassador for the sport, and he wants to show that.
Any of us, what'd you see when Kipchoge really realized that he was going to be Gay and Evans Chebet? Let's go back and try Josh again.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I was saying before, guys, I don't know if you could hear him have it. And from that point on, right by Newton City Hall, as I was saying, almost coincidentally in an area